Hey guys, Dylan from the Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my reaction to Shadowhunters Season 3, Episode 12, or Season 4, Episode 2, titled Original Sin. The Shadowhunters follow Clary and Jonathan to Paris. Life without magic is painful for Magnus, and Simon continues his quest to remove the mark. So, this is obviously picking up after where the last one ended, with Sebastian, as I will continue to call him because that was his preferred name after being reborn in the books. He's taken the apartment to Paris because he knows that's where Clary has always wanted to go, and he's attempting to show her that he does want to change. I still have my theories about who this person that Simon is meeting in the sewers that knows about the mark is. I'm still not going to say the name until it gets revealed whether I'm right or wrong, but we'll see. Hopefully this episode, but who knows. But let's get this started in 3, 2, 1, go. Seems like this may be a Simon A plot. Because the majority is focusing on him. He does still have his demon abilities by the looks of it, because I think his eyes were just full black. I didn't notice last episode that he's got red hair. Dark red, but still some fa- family resemblance. Right, she doesn't know that she's been pardoned. Let's not go that far. You know, it's going to be real interesting being in Paris without Jace. Because they were in Paris for a different reason in the book. Hmm. Yeah, but if he's been hidden for centuries, wouldn't you think he'd not be? Hmm. Why not just buy a bottle? Now, here's the question: is he a better cook than Alec is? It's a it's your day off, so let's trade like you do on your day on. Hmm. Instead of into a dance. You got him worked up, and you got him worked up. What did you expect would happen? Not in the training room. I mean, to be fair, it is a out there theory. Feedback loop. Huh. I expected them both to get blown back. I am Kane. I was right. Told you it started with a C. I thought he was going to be sent to Camille first. That's when I first said the C name. Then when Raphael said it was a guy, I'm like, it could still start with a C. All the dresses that Clary had to take from the apartment were meant to be for Jocelyn. Hmm. Really? A black bob? You deserve that. Fair. Sorry. So you are the first vampire. Hmm? Yeah, well, that's how it happened with Simon. You don't think that if he knew how to do that, he'd have gotten it off himself? Is that the rock? With magic, you can afford spontaneity. Why do I keep sliding down today? Oh, so he took his immortality as well. Hmm. I feel like that'd be as hard as running in flippers. I mean, maybe not quite as much as you think she does, but she'd like you to be there. Hmm. That is something they did. I brought you food. You were a monster. Why do you have to leave at 3? Hmm. So I'm guessing no late night dim sum? Hmm. He clocked the mark on Jonathan's neck, though. Where did she get so good at pickpocketing, though? I got wide eyes from both of them. That has been what? Are you, or are they going to have moved before you get there? Hmm. Hmm. What do you have to offer? You. Hmm. Nowhere to run, but a place to secretly deactivate the anti-tracking rune. How? What power does the Morning Star have? Well, I guess that answers that question. Yeah, as if that wasn't going to happen. As if you'd write the real thing in a ledger. Hmm. Well, I mean, yeah. An armbar would alert him, though it was the opposite arm. Eh, as if that wasn't going to happen. You just killed a man in the middle of the street, and you call that safe? You seem to really not want him to go through with it if you keep reminding him that. Sort of want to know how many people he's gonna go down the list for. Um, hmm. Hmm. I was wondering if she was gonna let him bite her or if She was gonna do that. And that is the reason why it was Isabel who went with him. Hmm. Little bit good. The fact that he was still able to run like that after being stabbed in the leg is a little impressive. Really? You sure you didn't imagine that there'd be issues when you go there? Oh, where you going now, Jonathan? I guess we don't find out. Okay, was an interesting episode. The Alec and Magnus stuff was really sweet. Just both of them going through the motions with a newly mortal person, then teaching him that he does have to live in the moment occasionally to make the moments worth it. The Simon stuff, I was correct in predicting that it was Kane down in the sewers. I do have issue with the fact that the Silly Queen is, in terms of fairies, still fairly new at her job as queen in the books. Like, she's not the first Silly Queen. So there's that. Also, we don't have a definitive date for the creation of fairies, nor do we really know how they came to be. Like, there are three different possible options for the creations of fairy. One that dates to the creation of the world, one that dates to the fall of the angels and everything, and another is it's a union between angels and demons. We don't know when they came to be, though we do know they were around before Shadowhunters. Same with warlocks. And the Shadowhunters were created in the 15th century. Or was it the 1500s? One of those two. And then vampires and werewolves came after that. So we don't know whether there were fair folk around during the time of the first men. But also there's the fact that we don't actually know if there was an... Well, actually we do know that there was an Adam, because Lilith was tossed out of Eden for the same reason she is in the Old Testament, but we never actually hear of it. Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel, the third son, or anything between then, and really the rise of Shadowhunters, so we don't know any of that. So it's interesting that this show, while it is a major departure from the source material, it does also seem to be trying to expand upon the lore in ways that it can. Just sort of filling in some blanks. Like, we do know that... Okay, Lilith turning Cain into a vampire. As I said, major issue there with the fact that vampires came to be after the creation of Shadowhunters. However, it is also known that it is a demon infection that created the first vampire. So to say that Lilith was behind that could still be correct. Which would also mean that it could be another greater... Well, she's not even a greater demon. She's on level with the princes of hell. So it could have been one of them who created the werewolves. Because, well, they were said to be... The reason they have an instinctual hate for each other is because the things that infected them had a hatred for each other. And that just sort of passed down through the bloodline. So it could well have been Lilith who created the first vampire. And, I don't know, Belial? Leviathan's also an option because him and Belial are usually together, at least by the book lore. It's not Asmodeus. Well, could be Asmodeus from before they co-ruled Eden. Edom, I mean. I always mix those two up. And the little quest to. Anyway, back to the episode before I go too far down that rabbit hole. Um, the little quest of Jason Luke to find where the apartment's gone. I'm a little surprised that because there is the drop in pressure to fill the space of the um, apartment leaving, there's not a measurable expansion of pressure, like a high pressure area where it lands, though it could just simply be that the New York Institute isn't linked up with the Paris um, atmospheric gauge and everything. That could be the case. But yeah, there were things taken straight from the book in this episode. Well, a couple. The fact that they go to Paris, that they go out for the day, grab hot chocolates, go to a pawn shop that is, well, an antique shop that is run by a Vetus demon. Sebastian tossing him a bag of coins from the Eyes of Dead Men. They're there for a different reason, and I wonder if that's going to come up, because if it does, well, yeah, if it does, they've also screwed up that storyline. Because for that to come to fruition, Simon still needs the Mark of Cain for one more mission. So it seems they may either not be doing that, which takes out the entire final book from the show. Like, none of that can happen if not for this one thing that they seem to be changing. Now, yes, they can still work it around in their own way, but there's not even any allusion to it. Also, the Morning Star Sword having powers is completely new. That's Heosphorus, the father sword that was Valentine's. Yeah, because it's meant to be in the family. Because Jocelyn only. No, she sold them both, I'm pretty sure. And somehow Valentine got it back. Or maybe she only sold the one. I can't quite remember. I know she's sold Faithfurus, because that eventually makes its way to Clary. But yeah, so to call it the Morning Star Sword is interesting, despite the fact that that is literally what Morgenstern translates into. Still weird to name something so obviously. The first half of this episode was really happy. The second is very lore dense and has major implications and potential ramifications for future plot lines. But there's also the fact that there's only, 10 episodes left. And we're maybe 2/3 of the way through the 5th book. Or is Paris about halfway? Yeah. Paris is about halfway through the 4th book. No, 5th book. The whole sixth book is related to stuff that is set up directly in Paris. Um, they also haven't introduced most of the characters who are majorly affected by that storyline. They've killed off a character who is directly tied into that storyline, but given the fact they killed off Jocelyn, that doesn't really matter. It's a lot to think about now that I actually sit and think. So, yeah, I'm going to end this one here. I'll catch you in the next one.